Good morning, friends. It's a beautiful day. The sun hadn't popped out yet, but I got an active day today, so I wanted to get going early. I was in Washington, D.C. I can't remember if it's the end of January or beginning of February, but I was waiting on a friend near the Pentagon. I was pacing the subway at the Pentagon, and I kept hearing, um, not a ton of times, but multiple times, somebody on a phone call saying to somebody else, they gave me a flaming bag of crap. And it brought back fond memories. I didn't know what kind of April Fool's gift to give you guys. But about 40 years ago, I had this great idea while we were camping out in my backyard to deliver one of those to one of my neighbors. And we had never done that little practical trick before. We just, thought we'd go get one of the big grocery bags, fill it up with all the dog stuff that was spilled all over the neighborhood, throw on some lighter fluid. Long story short, we almost burned our house down at 11 o'clock at night. My dad missed a flight the next day. The joke ended up being on me, so hopefully not too many April Fool's jokes are landing on your plate today. Hope your day is a great one. We've got today is Connie's 11th chemo out of 12, so we're thrilled that we're on the home stretch, and you can keep her in your prayers. This is my Connie mug here, so we are thankful to be on the home stretch on that. Here's an idea I wanted to throw out to you today. If you go to 1 John 4, verses 7 and 8, it basically says, God is love, and love is from God, okay? God is love, love is from God. And then if you go to Romans 5:20, this is kind of an important verse. I don't know how you live out this life if you don't understand this principle, because this principle is one that changed my life many years ago. But it's Romans 5:20, and you guys write this down, check it out. But it says, the law came in so that the transgression would increase. Romans 5:20, the law came so sin would increase. Anybody ever tell you that before? God gave the law so you would sin more. The reason was you had a broken spirit that came from Adam's original sin, and the law came to point out that you need a new spirit, which is God's spirit that he was going to send through his son Jesus 2,000 years ago, who walked on the planet, lived a perfect life, died on the cross, resurrected, ascended on high, and then on Pentecost came to live inside us believers. So it's a big deal. It's worthy of note. But the whole reason of the law was to point out you needed a new spirit. Got that? So here we go. The new spirit then becomes your DNA. That's who you are. You're not what you do. You're not what you feel like. It's who you are, that new spirit. And if you can ever get a hold of that, you will have got a hold of one of the most amazing truths in life, to live from a point of power and not a point of weakness. So this idea hit me because when I was dating Connie, I made a list and I took 1 Corinthians 13 and broke out all those attributes of love and began using them as the to-do list of my life. And so that's not the right way to go. So I came up with this realization that love isn't what we do, it's who we are. Remember how I started this? God is love and love is from God. Then if you go to Romans 5:5, Romans 5:5 says this. This is getting old thing. It says, and hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out within our hearts through the Holy Spirit who is given to us. When you read the apostles' writings, those are the things after the Gospels, pay close attention to the tenses of the verbs, because on 5:5 it says the love of God has been poured out. That's past tense, into our heart. The word heart has multiple meanings in the Bible. I've talked about in the past that we have this body, we have a soul and a spirit. Our body is our connectedness to this planet. Our soul is our unique personality, our mind, will, and emotions, and our spirit is our connectedness or not to God. Well, once you've got Jesus, your connectedness to God has happened. You still got this lingering body that's going on, connectedness to here, to this planet, but our soul, sometimes referred to as the heart in the Bible, has the expression of who God made us to be to both him and to the world. And so when he says the love of God has been poured out into our heart, into our personality, it's expressed through our mind, will, and our emotions. And so he said that's happened. God's poured it into our lives, and that's who we are now. It's a DNA thing. It's not an action. We love because that's who we are. It's not that I set out and make these rules like I did when I was clueless back in the years. But let's look at 1 Corinthians 13. If you've seen The Wedding Crashers, and this is not marketing for that, but it's kind of a funny movie. The Wedding Crashers had a bet whether you're going to use 1 Corinthians 13 or Colossians 3 in the Christian weddings. And it's one of the funniest lines I've ever heard, because most Christian weddings, that's what they do. They're going to go with one of those, which that's my sense of humor. I think it's funny stuff, but you laugh at whatever you want to. Paul wrote 1 Corinthians 13. He says, if I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have, which means possess, love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. And if I give all my possessions to the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. It didn't say if I don't do love, it says if I don't have love. And those verses in 1 Corinthians says God is love, and he has given it to us. He's given himself to us. It's been poured out in our heart. So God in my heart living through me, this is what he's going to prompt you to do, because this is his nature and not your DNA. It says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, love does not brag, it is not arrogant, love does not act unbecomingly, it does not seek its own, it does not provoke, does not take into account a wrong suffered. Love does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Ha, that's not you. That's God living through you. God never fails. Holy cow, what a great deal. Let him love through you. Okay? Let him love through you. I got an email last night. I wanted to send a shout out. This friend of mine, Kevin, is a local disc jockey on a country radio station, and 2 or 3 years ago, he said I should do something like this, and he was coaching me through it, and we just didn't get it done. And I emailed him to let him know that I was being a little more proactive with his insight in doing this. And he emailed me back that he was in the hospital with COVID-19. So if you guys keep my friend Kevin in your prayers today, keep Connie in your prayers today, and you guys have a spectacular day. I know I'm going to. I'll see you soon.